The galaxy was at war. For years, the Zerath Dominion, a cruel and powerful empire, had conquered world after world. Their fleets were unmatched, their soldiers followed orders without question, and their leaders were masters of strategy. One by one, free civilizations had fallen. In response, the surviving species formed a great alliance. The Talari, known for their intelligence, joined with the Varnak, a warrior race with strong bodies. The Ilren, who had the most advanced ships, shared their technology. Many other species joined too, hoping that together they could stop the Zerath Dominion. At first there was hope. The Alliance launched attacks, fought great battles, and tried to push the Dominion back, but the enemy always seemed to know their plans. The Zerath Dominion studied their tactics and adapted faster than anyone expected. Every victory by the Alliance was soon followed by a crushing defeat. Now, after years of war, the Alliance was broken and tired. Entire fleets had been destroyed. Planets once full of life were reduced to ruins. Refugees fled from one star system to another, looking for safety that no longer existed. In the Great Hall of Unity, the leaders of the remaining free worlds met one last time. Their faces showed fear and exhaustion. The Talari Chancellor spoke first. "We cannot win this war. Our strategies have failed. Our armies are weak. If we do nothing, we will all be slaves to the Zerath Dominion." The Varnak general growled in frustration. "Then what is your answer? We have tried every plan. The Dominion knows our ways. They fight without mercy. There is no species left that can surprise them." Silence filled the hall. Many believed it was the end. Then an Ilren scientist stood up slowly. "There is one species," he said. "They are not like us. They think differently. They fight differently. They are called humans." Murmurs spread through the hall. Some leaders laughed bitterly. "Humans? Those primitives from the edge of the galaxy?" one alien scoffed. "They are unpredictable," the scientist insisted. "I have studied them. They have no single way of fighting. They invent strange weapons. They take risks that we would never take. And sometimes they win because of it." The Varnak general frowned. "Even if they are different, they have no experience in a war like this. Why would we trust them?" The Ilren scientist replied, "Because everything we know has failed. The Zerath Dominion understands us too well. If we keep fighting in the same way, we will lose. But humans might fight in ways the Dominion cannot predict." The hall fell silent again. Slowly, the Talari Chancellor looked at the others. "We are out of options. If there is even the smallest chance that humans can help us, we must take it." Reluctantly, the leaders agreed. They would reach out to Earth. Far away, on the blue-green planet called Earth, life went on as usual. People went to work, children played, and nations argued over politics. They had no idea that far beyond their skies, the greatest war in the galaxy was being lost. One night, in the deserts of Nevada, a strange event occurred. A giant spacecraft, unlike anything ever seen before, appeared silently in the sky. It landed without a sound. Out stepped a group of tall, thin beings with glowing eyes, the Ilren. The humans who first saw them were shocked and terrified. Governments rushed to respond, thinking it was an invasion. But the Ilren came not as conquerors, but as desperate allies. Through translators, the Ilren envoy spoke. "Humans of Earth, the galaxy is in great danger. Our civilizations are falling to the Zerath Dominion. We have come to ask for your help. We offer our technology, our ships, and our knowledge. But we need something that only you can provide. Your way of thinking, your way of fighting." World leaders were stunned. They had never been asked to save other civilizations before. But as the Ilren explained the situation, many realized the truth. If the Dominion conquered the galaxy, Earth would be next. Meetings were held, secret talks began, and debates raged around the world. Some feared this war was too great for humanity. Others believed this was a chance for humans to rise beyond their small planet and prove themselves among the stars. At last, humanity made its decision. Earth would join the alliance, not just as soldiers, but as leaders who would fight in their own way. The galaxy was losing the war, but for the first time in years, there was a small spark of hope, because humans were coming. The news spread quickly across Earth. For the first time in history, humanity had been visited by beings from another world. People watched the broadcasts in shock as alien ships hovered silently above deserts, oceans, and empty fields. Governments held emergency meetings. Military forces prepared for any threat, but the Ilren envoy made it clear they had not come to conquer. They had come to ask for help. In a secret meeting, leaders of major nations sat with the Ilren ambassador, Arilan, who spoke in a calm, clear voice. "The galaxy is falling," he said. "We have weapons, we have fleets, but we lack what you have: creativity, unpredictability, and courage. The Zereth Dominion knows all our strategies, but they do not know yours. We ask you to fight beside us. We will give you our ships and technology. We will trust you with command." The room fell silent. One human general leaned forward. "You want us to lead your fleets? We've never even been in space battles." Arilan nodded. "Yes, that is why you can succeed. You will do what the Dominion does not expect." Some leaders argued it was too risky. Earth had never fought a war beyond its own planet. Others saw this as a chance for humanity to prove itself. "If we do nothing, the Dominion will come for us one day," a president said. "Better to fight now with allies than fight alone." Later, after long debates, humanity agreed. Earth would join the war. But humans would not be just soldiers. They would take leadership roles. Training began immediately. The Ilren shared their starships and weapons, and humans studied them with curiosity and excitement. Engineers from Earth quickly modified alien devices, adding features that no alien had ever considered. "Why are you changing the controls?" an Ilren pilot asked as a human engineer rewired a panel. "Because this way, it's faster to use," the engineer replied with a grin. Aliens watched in amazement as humans built strange tools, ran dangerous tests, and even broke expensive alien devices, only to fix them with improvements. The Varnak warriors, tall and strong, watched human soldiers train. At first, they laughed at the smaller, weaker humans, but soon they noticed something unusual. Humans moved fast, worked in teams, and used clever tricks in combat exercises. During one drill, a group of human soldiers lost their weapons, on purpose, only to ambush their opponents using traps they had built from scrap parts. The Varnak general shook his head. "They cheat," he said in disbelief. "No," his Ilren companion replied. "They improvise." As days passed, more humans joined the program. Pilots, engineers, strategists, and soldiers came from many nations. The aliens were surprised at how quickly humans adapted to advanced technology. One Ilren scientist whispered to another, "Their minds work differently. We take years to test a new idea. They test it in hours." At the same time, humans began to understand the galaxy's politics. They met the leaders of the Talari, the Varnak, and other species. Many aliens still doubted that humans could succeed. "You have no experience," a Talari official told the human commander, Admiral Carter. Carter smiled. "Maybe. But we're good at learning fast." Soon, the humans were ready for their first real mission. The plan was simple: attack a small dominion, outpost and capture it. Alien commanders had failed before, but Carter's team had a different idea. "We're not attacking head-on," Carter said in the briefing. "We'll make them think we're retreating, then strike from behind." The aliens looked confused. "Retreating before fighting?" one asked. "Exactly," Carter said. "That's why it will work. Before departure, a massive ceremony was held in orbit above Earth. Humans stood side by side with alien soldiers. For the first time, the galaxy saw Earth as part of the Alliance. Erilyn looked at the human commanders and said, "You carry the hope of many worlds. Fight in your way. Surprise the enemy. Do what we cannot." Admiral Carter replied, "We won't promise easy victories, but we will promise to fight like humans." The fleet prepared to leave. Earth's people watched the launch on giant screens, cheering as their first warships, mixed with alien vessels, rose into space. For decades, humans had looked to the stars with wonder. Now, they were going there as warriors and leaders. Some aliens still doubted them. Others hoped they might succeed. But in that moment, one thing was certain. The galaxy was about to see just how dangerous humans could be when everything was at stake. The human-led fleet traveled through hyperspace, heading toward a small Dominion outpost on the edge of a barren moon. The outpost was not heavily guarded, but every previous attempt to capture it had failed. The Dominion always predicted the attacks and set deadly traps. Admiral Carter stood on the command deck of the Ilrin warship Starlance, now modified with human technology. Around him were both human officers and alien crew members. Carter studied the holographic map and said, calmly, "We're not going to fight like the Dominion expects. We're going to fight like humans." The plan was simple but strange. Instead of attacking head-on, Carter split the fleet into 3 groups. One would appear first, acting like a weak scouting force. The second group would hide behind a nearby asteroid field. The third group would circle around the moon's dark side to cut off the Dominion's escape. The alien commanders looked uncertain. "This is too risky," a Talari officer warned. Carter smiled. "That's why it will work. They won't expect it." The battle began as planned. The first group of human-led ships appeared on the Dominion scanners. Dominion officers laughed at the sight of what looked like a small, poorly organized fleet. They launched their fighters immediately, confident of an easy victory. But as the Dominion forces moved out to attack, Carter gave a single order. "Now!" Suddenly, the second fleet burst out of the asteroid field, firing at the enemy from the side. At the same time, the third group emerged from behind the moon, cutting off the Dominion's retreat. The enemy was caught completely off guard. On the surface of the moon, human soldiers worked with Varnak warriors to infiltrate the outpost. Instead of charging through the main gate like the aliens had always done before, humans found a narrow maintenance tunnel under the base. Crawling through the dark passageways, they planted small EMP devices to disable enemy defenses. When the outpost alarms finally sounded, it was already too late. The Dominion soldiers rushed to defend the front entrance, only to find no attackers there. Moments later, explosions erupted inside the base as the humans and Varnak stormed in from within. The Dominion commander shouted orders, but his communications were jammed. Carter had ordered a human engineer to modify the Ilrin jamming device, just hours before the mission. "We made it stronger," the engineer had said with a grin. "It'll fry their signals completely." In orbit, the space battle turned chaotic. Dominion ships tried to regroup, but the human-led fleet kept changing formations in ways no alien would have attempted. "They're moving without a pattern," a Dominion officer cried in confusion. "That's the point," Carter muttered, as he gave another unexpected order. "All ships, rotate shields every 10 seconds. Keep them guessing." Alien crew members on Carter's ship exchanged amazed looks. "This is madness," one Ilren whispered. "Maybe," Carter replied with a grin, "but it's working." Within an hour, the battle was over. The Dominion outpost was captured, and their fleet was either destroyed or forced to flee. For the first time in years, the Alliance had won a major victory. Cheers erupted across the fleet. On the ground, human soldiers stood proudly beside their alien allies. The Varnak general, once doubtful of humans, walked up to Carter and said, "You fight like no one I have ever seen. You win because you are Unpredictable. Carter nodded. That's how humans survive. We don't follow the rules. News of the victory spread across the galaxy. Worlds that had lost hope began to believe again. Species that had considered surrendering started preparing to fight once more. For the first time in years, the Dominion was afraid. In a dark war room deep inside Dominion space, a high-ranking commander slammed his fist on the table. These humans, they do not fight with order, they do not fight with logic, they fight with chaos. And chaos is hard to predict. Back on the Starlance, the crew celebrated. But Carter remained thoughtful. He looked out at the stars and said quietly to his second-in-command, "Commander Reyes, this was just one victory. The Dominion won't underestimate us next time. We'll have to be even smarter." Reyes nodded. "Good thing being smart is our specialty." Carter smiled. "No, being unpredictable is. The galaxy had just witnessed something no one had expected. Humans could win, and this was only the beginning. The victory at the Dominion outpost changed everything. Across the galaxy, messages of hope spread like wildfire. Worlds that had been silent for years began to rise again. Refugees cheered when they heard that humans, once considered weak, had defeated the Dominion in a way no one thought possible. But Carter knew one victory was not enough. The Dominion would adapt quickly. They had vast fleets, disciplined soldiers, and endless resources. To defeat them, humans had to do more than fight. They had to teach others to fight differently. In a massive orbital station above a liberated world, Carter and his officers began training alien commanders. The Talari, Ilren, Varnak, and many other species gathered in large halls, listening as humans explained tactics on glowing holoscreens. "This is not about strength," Carter told them. "The Dominion is stronger. This is about creativity. You have to think like your enemy does not expect you to think." The aliens struggled at first. The Talari loved careful, calculated plans. The Varnak preferred direct combat and brute force. The Ilren relied too much on technology. Humans forced them to break these habits. During one training drill, Carter asked a group of Talari officers to plan a mock attack. They spent hours making a perfect strategy, only for Carter to smile and say, "Now throw it away. You won't get time to plan like that in real war." The aliens looked shocked. "But without a plan—" "You still fight," Carter interrupted. "You adapt." Meanwhile, human engineers worked with Ilren scientists to modify weapons and ships. They built strange devices, fake signals to confuse enemy scanners, drones that acted as decoys, and new weapons that looked crude but were highly effective. Varnak. Warriors were taught to fight in small, unpredictable squads instead of charging as one big army. At first, they resisted. "This is dishonorable," one Varnak captain said. Carter replied firmly, "Winning is the only honor that matters now. Lose, and your people are slaves." The words struck deep. Slowly, the aliens began to understand. Soon, the Alliance launched a series of raids led by human-trained teams. They did not attack directly. Instead, they used deception, traps, and hit-and-run strikes. One raid targeted a Dominion supply depot. Instead of attacking with full force, the humans sent false signals, making the Dominion believe a huge fleet was coming. The enemy moved most of their ships to defend the wrong location, allowing a small human-led team to destroy the depot in minutes. Another mission involved a group of Talari ships pretending to surrender. As Dominion forces moved to capture them, hidden Varnak strike teams ambushed from behind. The aliens cheered at their victory, realizing the power of human-style warfare. As weeks passed, the Dominion began losing more battles. For the first time in years, their commanders were confused. "They do not fight with order," a Dominion officer growled. "Every battle is different. We cannot predict them." Across the galaxy, more species joined the Alliance. Many had once believed the war was already lost. Now they saw that with humans in command, The Dominion could be defeated. But Carter knew that the war was far from over. The Dominion still controlled entire sectors of the galaxy. Their main fleet was massive, and their leaders were ruthless. One night, Carter stood in the strategy room looking at a hologram of enemy territory. Commander Reyes stepped beside him. "They're scared now," she said softly. "They'll come back harder," Carter replied. "The next battles will be worse." Reyes smiled. "Good. We fight best when things get tough." Carter chuckled. "Yeah, that's the human way." Soon, the Alliance planned its biggest mission yet, a daring assault on a key Dominion shipyard deep in enemy space. It was a risky plan, one that no alien commander would ever approve. But Carter looked at the map and said the words that had already become famous among the Alliance. "Let's do what they won't expect." Across the stars, soldiers prepared. Aliens who had once doubted humans now followed their lead with trust and pride. For the first time, the galaxy believed the Dominion could be beaten. The war was far from over, but one truth had become clear. Humans were changing everything. The galaxy had changed. Since humans joined the Alliance, battles that once ended in despair now ended in victory. The Zerath Dominion was no longer seen as unstoppable. Their fleets had been pushed back, their supply lines destroyed, and their leaders were growing desperate, but the war was not yet won. The Dominion still controlled a massive stronghold, Kalor Prime, the heart of their empire. It was there that their main fleet, their shipyards, and their rulers were all gathered. If Kalor Prime fell, the war would end. If it stood, the Dominion would rise again. Admiral Carter stood in the war room aboard the Starlance, surrounded by human officers and alien commanders. A giant hologram of Kalor Prime rotated before them, showing thousands of Dominion ships and countless defense stations. "This is it," Carter said. "We end the war here, but we can't just attack like they expect. We'll give them chaos. We'll give them something they'll never forget." The plan was dangerous. Instead of one large fleet, Carter split the Alliance forces into many small groups, each with its own mission. Some would attack the Dominion's outer defenses. Others would create fake battle signals, making it look like fleets were attacking from directions where no ships actually existed. A special strike team, made up of humans and Varnak warriors, would infiltrate the shipyard and disable its power. Systems. Without those systems, the Dominion fleet would lose its shields. Many alien commanders thought the plan was madness. But after months of training under humans, they had learned one thing: sometimes madness worked. The battle began with a sudden burst of false signals across Dominion space. Enemy scanners lit up with hundreds of fleets attacking from every direction. Dominion commanders panicked, unsure where to defend. While the Dominion scrambled, Carter's real fleet launched a lightning strike, appearing in places the enemy least expected. Ships darted in and out of combat, never staying in one formation for long. In the middle of the chaos, the strike team slipped through the Dominion defenses. Human soldiers led the way, crawling through maintenance shafts and hacking alien security systems. Varnak warriors followed close behind, ready for close combat. Inside the shipyard, explosions shook the walls as the team planted charges on the power cores. Dominion soldiers rushed to stop them, but the humans fought with unpredictable moves, using improvised weapons and sudden feints. Finally, with a final command, "Detonate!" the charges exploded, shutting down the shipyard's entire defense grid. Carter's fleet immediately moved in for the final blow. "All ships, fire! Everything you've got!" he ordered. Massive beams of energy tore through Dominion capital ships. Fighters swarmed the enemy, darting in unpredictable patterns that confused the Dominion pilots. Even as the Dominion tried to regroup, alien fleets, trained by humans, executed daring maneuvers, attacking from impossible angles and retreating, only to strike again moments later. One by one, the Dominion ships fell. On the ground below, the Dominion leaders realized the war was lost. Their empire, built on fear and control, could not withstand the chaos and courage of humans and their allies. After hours of brutal fighting, Kalor Prime's defenses collapsed. The last Dominion flagship tried to flee, but Carter himself led the final charge, his fleet cutting off its escape. "Today," Carter said over the comms, "we take back the galaxy." With a final volley of fire, the Dominion flagship exploded in a burst of light. Silence followed, then cheers erupted across. Every Allied ship, soldiers embraced one another. Alien commanders saluted their human allies. The war was over. Weeks later, on a liberated world, the leaders of every species gathered. Humans stood among them, no longer seen as a primitive race, but as equals. Heroes who had changed the course of history. Erelin, the Ilran ambassador, stepped. When all hope was lost, humans gave us more than weapons. They gave us courage. They taught us that victory is not just about power. It is about heart, creativity, and the will to fight for freedom. Admiral Carter spoke humbly. "We didn't win this war alone. We won it together. The galaxy doesn't need rulers. It needs allies. And humans will always stand with those who fight for freedom." The crowd erupted in applause. From that day on, humans became known as the race that turned the tide. They were not conquerors, but leaders who inspired others. The galaxy entered a new age, an age of cooperation, unity, and hope. And though many battles would come in the future, one lesson would never be forgotten. When humans fight together, they can achieve the impossible.